Hello, everyone. I am Spencer Robert, and I'm here on the side of the road where I don't know if you can see, but the pavement ends. And the good news about the pavement ending for today's ride is that this bike loves it when the pavement ends. It's an Africa Twin. It's, in fact, the 2018 Africa Twin Adventure Sports. So this is Honda's new top-of-the-line adventure bike. It's got longer travel suspension. It's got a bigger fuel tank. It's got a bigger windscreen. It's got bigger, fancier, louder graphics, and we're riding it all day today. We got a long dirt road ahead of us and then some twisties after that. So we're going to see how these changes have stacked up to, I don't know, make an already good bike potentially better, potentially worse. It's hard to say. There's only one way to find out, so I'm going to swing a leg over and get to it. Okie doke. Here we go. Going to do my best Zach Kortz impression. Now, my Zach Kortz impressions are only good when it comes to putting on gloves. I can't actually ride a motorcycle like Zach Kortz, but, you know, so few can. So here we are. It's the Africa Twin Adventure Sports. This is the 30th anniversary graphics. Looks pretty sweet. We've got longer suspension travel in the fork and in the shock. I believe it's about 9 inches of travel in both. It's, you know, a little under 9 in the fork and a little over 9 in the shock. Altogether, this bike is about an inch taller than the standard Africa Twin. And the idea is that you can go down dirt roads like this with even more confidence. All right, let's get started. Okay, well, before we actually touch dirt here, what I need to do is change a couple of settings. And I'm going to be throwing you in the deep end here, but bear with me. So first, I'm going to turn on off-road ABS. That lets me lock up the rear wheel. I'm going to turn traction control over here down to 1, which lets you slide, but still catches you if you get too far out there. And then I'm going to put it in sport mode. And then I'm going to get stuck behind a truck. So here we are. All right, so let's start things easy. I don't want to do a whole recap review of the Africa Twin. If you don't know anything about the Africa Twin, we have a lot of good videos and good articles about the bike. We've got first ride reviews, we've got favorites and fails, we've got MC commutes. Any information you could want to know about the standard Africa Twin, check around on the channel and you'll find something. I'm quite confident of it. But what this is Honda's attempt to grab that premium customer a little bit more. Jesus, it's dusty. Now it's a little bit confusing because Honda has also updated the standard Africa Twin for 2018. So a lot of the things you see on this bike are available on the standard model. But here's what's different specifically about the Adventure Sports model. First up, this 6.37 gallon fuel tank. That is good for a range of allegedly over 300 miles. It also has the increased suspension travel that we talked about. It also has a different seat. It has heated grips that are standard. It has standard crash bars. It has this 30th anniversary paint job. There's quite a bit that went into it. As far as capability, the biggest thing you're probably going to notice that's different between this bike and the standard Africa Twin is the overall height and riding position. The bars feel a lot taller. The seat definitely feels taller off the ground. The pegs are a little bit fatter than the standard Africa Twin. And so when you stand up on the bike, all of a sudden you feel like you're really in command. You don't feel like you're slouching over and trying to grab down to the bars. You feel like you have a lot of leverage over the machine. You feel like you can work it back and forth. And when it comes to standing up, it's no doubt the Africa Twin Adventure Sports is a better bike. The windscreen is also about 80 millimeters taller, or about 3 inches, but it is non-adjustable. So hopefully this height works for you. Otherwise, you're going to have to chop it off or look to the aftermarket. So what is this thing actually like to ride? Well, compared to the standard Africa Twin, it feels really similar. I mean, it's the same engine. It's that same approximately 1000 cc parallel twin with the 270-degree firing order. It's a great, super easy to use engine. This bike is a bit heavier. It's the DCT version, and it has the bigger tank, and it has crash bars and things like that. So it's ringing in at about 555 pounds. And I don't know, I think there's a lot of people out there that could say, oh, I wish the bike had more power, but honestly, for me and for stuff like this, it's kind of as much power as you want. If I want to spin the rear wheel up at any time, it's not a problem. The bike is happy to do that. The other big thing that you're probably going to notice is this new dash layout. And now they have actually put this new dash on the standard Africa Twin starting in 2018 as well. So that's not exclusive to the Adventure Sports, but it's nice. It displays information in a really clear way. You've got your speed, you've got your ride modes, you've got traction control, you've got everything you want to know is right on that display. And even though it isn't a cutting edge TFT display with super vibrant colors popping out at you, I actually like the simplicity of it, and I like the way they have it in this skinny layout. I don't know, it makes me feel like I'm racing Dakar or something like that. It's got a really utilitarian vibe to it. Also new for both the Adventure Sports and the standard Africa Twin is ride-by-wire throttle. That means that you now have ride modes in the Africa Twin, and on this one they have urban, and they have gravel, and they have tour. If you're like me, you're probably going to end up using tour more than any of the other modes. It just seems the most responsive, has the most pick-me-up, but isn't difficult to manage at all, even on an off-road section like this. If they had given me the choice, I don't think I would have picked the DCT today, but Honda did not give us a choice. They only brought DCT models to this press launch, and as a result, you had to ride one, and you had to try it, and I have to say, I'm glad I did, because it is a pretty fun motorcycle. I mean, come around a corner, spool it up a little bit. It's so much fun. It's not that you couldn't do that with a manual transmission Africa Twin, but I don't know, it gives you a little bravery. Gonna do a little exploring, and that's what the Africa Twin is all about, man. Just like getting off the beaten path and like, woo, seeing what you can do. Just like that, you're back on the road. Rap. Oh my God, that's so much fun. I don't think I mentioned it, but we are in Prescott, Arizona right now, or as the locals say, Prescott. This is, believe it or not, where I learned to ride a motorcycle. It was in the early 90s. It was a Suzuki JR50. It may or may not have had training wheels, and it could not be any more different than the bike that I am riding today. So as you see me sort of moving this bike around, you can keep in mind that the new Africa Twin has 7 levels of traction control. So I'm in traction control level 1 right now, and it's letting me get away with pretty big slides. It is about an inch taller than the original Africa Twin, so if you struggled with that bike, this bike is not going to be any easier. But the engine is the same, and the electronics are the same, and the suspension, even though it's longer, it's the same suspension component, so it's kind of the same suspension, which means it's a little bit soft, but you have enough travel now that I haven't even come close to bottoming this thing out. Hello? So who is this bike for? That's what I've been trying to figure out. You know, the price on this model, the Africa Twin Adventure Sports with DCT, is $15,700. If you want it without DCT, it's going to be $15,000 flat. And if you want the standard Africa Twin, I believe it's $13,500, something in that neck of the woods. So you have this machine, which is more expensive than a KTM 1090 Adventure. It makes less power. It probably weighs more. It's overall unlikely to be more capable in the dirt, but it has more fuel range, and I don't know, it has a nice design, it has a nice build quality. So it's kind of just what type of riding you want to do. If you are the gnarliest off-road dude and you're just looking for an adventure bike that can basically go out and hammer a hard enduro, I don't think I would get this. I mean, first off, I don't like carrying more gas if I'm going to go do super gnarly off-road riding, so I would probably err on the side of a standard Africa Twin. But if you're kind of like me and you love riding roads like this, like big open fire roads with amazing vistas, and you hate stopping to fill up for gas, you hate stressing about filling up for gas, then this is a great option, because with about 300 miles of range and enough ground clearance and suspension travel to easily handle anything like this, you have a machine that will kind of take you wherever you want. I think at $15,700, the price is definitely getting up there. But again, if you look at the competition, if you want an R1200 GS, or if you want a KTM 1290 Adventure, or you want a full-size adventure bike, those are easily over 20 grand these days. So all of a sudden, even though 15 grand or 16 grand is a lot of money for a motorcycle, it kind of is a bargain compared to some of the competition. Holy smokes, look at this view, you guys. Okay, so if you're on a dirt road, we know this bike is going to be totally fine, but it is bigger and heavier and taller, and historically those are not features that make for a better street bike. So to figure out how this thing handles the asphalt, there is only one place we can really go. And here we are, back on the street and back where, unfortunately, other cars are. This is what happens when you ride a motorcycle in civilization. You get stuck in traffic, and you've got, 80 horsepower that just wants to get unleashed on the world, and instead you're stuck behind a tastefully trashed Chevy Astrovan. Yeah. Thank you. So I really don't have a whole lot more to add as far as impressions about the adventure sports on the road. It works like it should, as you'd expect. It does not feel handicapped by the added weight or the added suspension travel or anything like that. And the main things you're going to notice when you ride this thing on the street is that it does have a different seat. It's a little bit flatter, a little bit more squared off. I can't actually say if it's more comfortable. I thought the old seat was pretty fine. I've only been on this one for a day, so I don't exactly have enough miles in it to tell you it's drastically better or worse than the original Africa Twin seat. It does have standard heated grips, which is pretty cool. It does not have cruise control, which is so sad because it's ride-by-wire now, and they could totally do it if they wanted to, and I'm sure they will soon. So with that being said, we are just about wrapped up with our ride. I think I'm going to drop this DCT into full manual mode, maybe drop it down a gear, and catch you guys back at the hotel. All right, the sun is low, and I am tired and dusty and hungry, and I think that means we had an adventure today. And what an adventure partner! This adventure sports, this Africa Twin, did mighty fine work. I love the added fuel range. I think the upgraded suspension is a really nice touch. I love the 30th anniversary graphics with the added crash protection. It's an impressive machine. If you didn't buy an Africa Twin before because you were concerned about things like suspension and fuel range and electronics, then I think this is going to answer a lot of those concerns. If you didn't buy an Africa Twin because you're a KTM guy or you're a BMW guy and that's all you ever buy, then I don't know. I don't think this is going to really change anything, but it's still an exceptional machine, and I think it's a really nice addition to the adventure bike category. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have, but if you have any questions about this bike, or if you want to point out anything that I forgot to talk about, which is likely, then feel free to do so. Or if you want to point out some things that you wish Honda would have done on this bike, let us know in the comments section below. They should have put cruise control on it. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys next time.